doctors in my family, but it was just something that was probably a calling for me. Today, the reason that I've actually come today and talking to you is that a lot of times I see patients every day, and I'm seeing that a lot of people have these myths. They have these kind of theoretical concepts that tell them that hold on, this is healthy, and these things are also being published in, say, newspapers or various magazines, or probably in some YouTube videos or in some other kind of communication, and they are being pretty much uh, they're being pretty much advertised as something that is great and healthy for you, whereas in reality it may or may not be healthy for you. So these are the common health myths that I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to take too much of your time. Let me just get straight to it. The first common health myth that I find is about water. A lot of people have these misconceptions about water. So let me try and clarify most of them. The first misconception is that when you wake up in the morning, you should have a lot of water. You should have a liter full of water. I don't know how many of you all understand this or do this, but that is a myth. Waking up in the morning and having a lot of water is inviting acidity into your house. Right? I'll repeat. Waking up in the morning and having a lot of water is inviting acidity to your house. Now, why do people do this? Number one, they've heard Rajiv Dixit say it, so they basically just copy and paste it, or do something of that sort. Or they've heard someone else say it and they copy paste it and apply it. The second reason why people do it, and the most common reason, is that if your emotions are not clear, if you are constipated, if that is the case, and you are doing this, having a lot of water in the morning in order to flush your stools down, then please take something for constipation. Water is not a healthy alternative or a healthy solution. If you think that this is like a toilet seat where you just flush things out and everything comes out and everything is clean, clean, good, good, that's not how your body works. That's a very primitive, basic understanding of the body, which is not true. So, what happens if you have so much water at once? Number one, you start gaining. Especially, okay, am I correct to consider that the people in this group are from Bombay?
Most of them, yes. They
Okay.
could
Mostly,
have some. They
mostly,
could have
mostly.
some.
All right, because most of the people, I mean, I'm considering that I'm talking to Mumbaiites. In Bombay, the humidity is extremely high, and because the humidity is so high, in fact, you could just stick your tongue out next to the beach and you'll actually taste the amount of salt. That's the amount of salt that's in the air. A lot of people you probably know might have a little bit of cold, a little bit of a sinus problem when you're in Bombay, and the minute they go somewhere out, say Pune, Ahmedabad, the problem automatically goes away. So the humidity is so high, the water retention is so high that whenever you have a lot of water at once, the water tends to stay in the body in terms of fats. And that bloats a person up. And then no matter what you do, it could be you, it could be your children, it could be anyone that you know. Anyone who's overweight, who's obese, you will definitely find in Bombay, you will definitely find that they have a habit of gulping water. They will never sip water. It is impossible. And people who gulp water, the kidneys cannot function well. Why? Is because if I have 30 patients at my clinic at once, I am paralyzed. I can't see them. But if I have one after the other 30 patients, it's so easy for me to handle all of them. Similarly, if I have a lot of water at once, it's difficult for the stomach and for the kidneys to digest and eliminate that water, and hence they store it. All right, I hope I'm making a bit of sense to all of y'all. So, you should always have water like an athlete. Now, how does an athlete drink water? Have you ever seen Virat Kohli or Saina Nehwal drink a liter of water? Never. You will never find an athlete drinking a liter of water, but yet you are doing that. Why do the athletes never drink water? Okay, have you all ever been to stores like Nike, Puma, Adidas, where they have basically items for athletes? You will always find they have this one bottle. Every store will have this one bottle, which does not allow water to come. So you squeeze it once, a little bit of a spurt of water comes, and then you can't have more water. You have to wait for it to open up before you squeeze it the second time and water comes again. The reason that happens is to stop athletes from drinking and gulping water. But we, for God knows why, wake up in the morning or at any given time, take 1 liter of water and drink it, and then brag to other people, "मैं कितनी healthy हूँ. I just had 1 liter of water in the morning and I do it for years." And then come to a doctor and say, "Listen, I have acidity. I have obesity." So this is one of the biggest health myths, I think, that a lot of people are falling into. And I mean, if you're having a wits about you, just don't. If you're making the mistake, it's not too late to correct yourself. Just correct yourself. Have your water. I'm not asking you to not have water, but don't gulp it at once. Have it in a sipping fashion. Okay, quickly moving on to the next one. I think I'm going to be talking about 3 to 4 water points today. So you will probably hear a lot about water today. The second one is drinking water after food. I think most of you all understand this, that water should never be had after your meals. After you eat your food, हाथ धोने जाते हैं, वहाँ मटका होता है, ग्लास होता है, और बहुत temptation होता है. So we take the glass, we pour the water into it, and we do this after eating your meal, which is very, very bad. Having one sip to clear your throat is a completely different thing, but having water like this after your meals, in Ayurveda, it's called Vishapradam. Visha means poison, right? So anyone who has water after their meals, maybe once or twice, 1 or 2 days, maybe a month, maybe a year, is probably okay. But if you've made it a habit, you are definitely going to suffer from a disease. And if you know this and you still do it, you only have yourself to blame, right? So please do not drink water immediately after a meal. You could probably wait, maybe have one sip. You could probably wait for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour if you can, and then you can consume water, right? Now, you should also not be having water before your meals, because what you're doing essentially is you're reducing the amount of food that you can take. And as we increase in terms of age, the amount of food that we can take automatically is reduced. So the amount of energy that we get is also obviously automatically reduced. Now, if we already have water before we start our meals, we are actually reducing our capacity to eat food and reducing our energy levels. And then once your energy level goes down, your exercise capacity goes down. And when the exercise capacity goes down, again your diet goes down and you're stuck in a vicious circle. So please also do not make the mistake of drinking water before your meals. So then the question arises that when should I drink water? I really feel thirsty. Ayurveda says you should always drink water along with your meals. Now, you've read in Times of India, and some doctor, some nutritionist comes and tells you if you have water with your meals, you're diluting some gastric or pancreatic fluid. But 2019 research is again proved what Ayurveda has always been saying. It doesn't. Right? Now, let's just take an example that is traditional, that is cultural. You go to any place in India, okay, any place, go to any culture, go to any state. And if you have their local cultural food, you'll be given a thali and you'll be given one glass of any fluid. It could be sol curry, it could be chas, it could be water. If you're from Kerala, it could be that red color water that you get there. It could be anything. But in any state, in any culture, along with your meal, a liquid will always be served to have with it. The question arises, can I have half a liter along with my meal? No, you can't. You should have half a glass, maybe a glass. Ayurveda says only half your stomach should be filled with food. 1/4 of your stomach should be filled with fluids. It could be dals, it could be water, it could be chas, it could be etc., any of these things. And 1/4 should be empty. Only then can the stomach churn and digest. If you filled it all up with food, do you expect that food to be able to digest and churn properly? Not really. That's going to be a problem. And if you have an indigestion problem, I don't really need to tell you. The stomach really is the root of all diseases. Samulam sarvaroganam ama ityabidiyate. Samulam, the root of sarvarog, almost all the diseases, ama ityabidiyate, is chronic indigestion. Right? So you should always have food only till half your stomach is full. Have a little bit of fluids, preferably dals, maybe not, if a little bit of water, and then keep 25% of your stomach empty, and that's the way to go. Right. So we move on to the next topic. Right. I've also seen, I mean, I don't think a lot of people do this, but I've seen a couple of people who do. They have this tendency, and they actually come and tell me, कि sir, हमको पित्त हो जाता है, right? And they have water in the morning, garam pani, they put 2 fingers in it, they choke themselves, and they gag and vomit. And after they vomit, they say, ah, kitna acha lag raha hai. All the burning, all the pitta has come out, and I am feeling so good. This is a yogic kriya. And this yogic kriya is a shuddhi kriya. Now, what do I mean by a shuddhi kriya? I'm not going to lecture on yoga, even though I can, but that's not my topic. A shuddhi kriya is something where you detox or where you clean. For example, if I give you something for loose motions because I feel that there's so much toxins in your gut, then that's healthy, right? There's nothing wrong with getting loose motions once. But suppose I give you loose motions every day, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to go into the ICU. There's nothing else that's going to happen. You can't have loose motions every day. You can't do your Diwali Safai every day. But that doesn't mean Diwali Safai is bad. But can you do it daily? You'll die. It's not possible. Similarly, if you're cleaning something, great, you do it. But if you're doing it daily, remember what I'm saying. It is a shortcut to heart disease. I'll repeat. Vomiting like this is a shortcut to heart disease. If anyone has this huge desire to get a heart disease, by all means, please go ahead and do it every day. You will achieve your target, right? But if people don't want these heart diseases, do not do it every day. Now, all of you all may not be doing these things, but you probably might know someone and you can guide and help them out, right? So it's important for you to note even things that you all don't do yourself. Okay. The next point is eating raw food. Okay, I've had a lot of people who come to me and tell me, you know what, sir, I am so healthy, I have such a healthy diet. And I ask them, what do you think is a healthy diet? And the first answer that I get from them is, I eat a lot of salads. And because I eat that tasteless salad, which is raw, uncooked, ghas, I eat that. Because I eat that like a bakra, I am very healthy. I have a very healthy diet. And this is what they come and tell me. Now, I'm not saying salads are bad, but I'm trying to make you understand what are the pros and cons, and then you make the decision of whether what you need to eat them or not. So again, assuming most of you all are from Bombay as I'm speaking with, but I'm also assuming that most of you all come from different backgrounds. You all don't all have to be born and brought up in Bombay, right? So in order to explain dietetics, I'll use a very quick example wherein let me cover, say, Western India. Let me cover Western India and we see what happens. Okay, it's very interesting. Be with me, especially on this point. Let's say Punjab. Okay, do we have Punjabis here? I'm sure we have a couple, right? Okay, yeah, I've already have a couple of hands raised. Perfect. So we have a couple of Punjabis here. So what kind of a diet do they have? In Punjab, you have makke di rotis, you have sarson da sags, you have this one balti bhar ke lassi. It's not even a glass. It's like a balti. That's the only thing I can call it. But makke di roti, right? Such a heavy thing to digest. But yet you are away from the equator, at least comparatively to Bombay. You're pretty high up. And because you're high up, you can digest all of these things. You're not even close to the ocean, nowhere close. Punjab has nothing to do with the ocean. You can digest that food. It's very helpful. It's very healthy. Now, let's say we go a little bit down south. Let's start moving towards the equator. Okay, we go down south and we come to say Rajasthan. Right. So yeah, how many people are from Rajasthan? Any Marwadis, Rajasthan? Yeah, I have a couple. I have a couple of fans up here. All right. So if you're from Rajasthan, what kind of food is there? You have dal batis. Trust me when I ask you this. Do you put a little bit of ghee in dal bati or do you put your dal bati into ghee? Answer carefully. The amount of ghee that you use, you're actually putting dal bati into ghee. That's what I feel. That much ghee. But why do they have so much ghee? Because they are in a desert area, they're in a dry area, very arid area. They have no lubrication. And when you have no lubrication, you need to have that much amount of ghee. Yet when you go there in the desert, do you find obese people? Because ghee खाते हैं, घी से वजन बढ़ता है. सब ऐसे ऐसे ही मिलेंगे राजस्थानी लोग. ऐसे दिखता है क्या कि राजस्थान में लोग ऐसे ही दिखते हैं आपको? My question is very, very simple. There's nothing complicated about it. The reason being that they have such high amount of dryness in their body and the sun really sucks their energy out. They need this lubrication there. So they have a lot of dahi there. They have a lot of ghee there. So these things are used a lot. Let's move a little bit down south. Let's move to Gujarat. Gujaratis, Okay, I can see all your cameras, so you can just raise your hands if you want to. Yeah, Gujaratis I have. Oh yeah, I saw a couple of Gujaratis. Great, fine. Now, we started off with makke di roti, okay, parothas and makke di rotis. I remember I went to Amritsar in winters, and for breakfast I had 5 aloo parathas, and those huge ones, not those small ones. For breakfast, I don't think I'll ever be able to have 5 aloo parathas in Bombay, but I could do that there. Now we come to Gujarat. In Gujarat, one second, yeah. In Gujarat, you start finding that those parathas start becoming patli rotis, right? But still, the food is not so easy to digest. It's still sweet. Okay. And this still has a sweet overtone, slightly difficult to digest. Now we move down a little bit to Maharashtra. Maharashtrians, anyone from Maharashtra? Most of the people would be from Maharashtra. Okay, great. Fine. So here you start finding the rotis are still patla, but the overtone is slightly spicy. In fact, even in Maharashtra, you'll start finding that when you go towards south, maybe say Kolhapur, it's in the southern part of Andhra, the spice increases, right? Because now you need spices to digest the food. You need to increase your agni, you need to increase your digestive fire. So it starts becoming slightly spicy. Now if you go down south even further, Karnataka, people from Karnataka, Kannada people, come on. I have a few. I can't see anyone. Okay, fine. Right. So if you notice, they can't even digest wheat. We started with makka, remember? So there, it's only rice and rice-based products because you can't digest wheat, right? And everything is now starts having black pepper into it. It's all spice, spice, spice. Everything is half cooked by yeast, so it's all fermented. You go down south even further, right? You go to Kerala. Keralites, come on. Couple of Keralites. None? Oh, I got one. No, I didn't. Okay, fine. So when you go to Kerala, if I'm sure you all must have been to Kerala. It's a beautiful place. When you go to Kerala, have you all ever had food in a traditional Keralian restaurant? Maybe even in Bombay, there might be a couple. If you do, you will find that obviously there is rice-based products everywhere, but you'll find that there's a red-colored water there, and that red-colored water helps you digest even rice because even rice is difficult to digest. So they basically have very, very weak digestion because you're moving towards the equator. Now, a Punjabi from Amritsar or Ludhiana goes to Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala and says, मैं तो पंजाबी हूँ, मैं तो मक्के दी रोटी और सरसों दा साग खाता हूँ. What do you think is going to happen to that person? Severe indigestion, severe acidity, big problems. And then he'll come and tell me, I don't know why I'm having these problems. हम तो जो खाते हैं हम वही खाते हैं. Because we've kept our culture and thrown out science out of it. We've rigidified it. कि भाई मैं तो मारवाड़ी हूँ, हम तो घी खाएंगे. भले ना मारवाड़ में तो 5 डिग्री ह्यूमिडिटी हो और बॉम्बे में 95 डिग्री ह्यूमिडिटी हो, हम तो उतनी ही घी खाते हैं क्योंकि मैं मारवाड़ी हूँ. तो तुम्हारे हार्ट को समझाना चाहिए. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So you should eat according to your environment, not your culture. For example, how many of you all have kids in the US or in Canada or in Germany or in areas that are really cold? Their diet multiplies when they go there. The same kid in Bombay, if he shifts to a cold environment like Canada, their regular pizza is as big as our large pizza. And one skinny, lanky guy can eat the whole pizza and have a side order. और यहाँ पर एक पिज्जा वही रेगुलर मंगाएगा तो बोलेगा एक पीस खाना. I can't finish that off. So your appetite also changes, your digestion changes. But now in Freiburg, Germany, it was tested that having raw salads, which is again very difficult to digest because you've not even cooked it, is very healthy. So everyone in every part of the world is eating it. Should an Ethiopian eat Canadian food? No. But you will eat German food. You will eat US food because US is rich. And if you eat rich people's food, you will start growing money. But that doesn't work. Right? What I'm trying to tell you is that if I were to test makke di roti and sarson da saag in Amritsar, I could come out and tell you scientifically proven, the magic words that everyone falls for. It is scientifically proven healthy. But now can that Sardar have it in Thiruvananthapuram? Because it's scientifically proven, he should be able to. digest it. It's very healthy. You can't, even though it's scientifically proven. So my next point again is that having salads in an area like Bombay, which is a highly tropical area, it's very tropical. It rains 4 months. 1/3 of the year it's raining. It's so tropical. You will have a very big chance of not being able to digest the food. And when you are not able to digest the food, you will not be able to absorb the nutrition. So people who have salads will start losing weight because it's as if they're fasting. They'll start feeling lighter. They'll start losing weight because it's like fasting. There's no food. Even their stomach is full because you're not able to digest it. And eventually they'll get a Vata-based disease. A Vata-based disease is something like joint pains, some things like indigestion, gas, bloating, breathing problems. All of these things will slowly and steadily start creeping in such people. They'll lose their luster, they'll have dark circles, they'll have black discolorations in areas. So all of these things will start happening. So my next point, I know I took a lot of time despite starting off this point saying I'll quickly wrap it up, as having salads in your food. The next is fruits replacing grains. There are beautiful concepts coming up. You should always have fruits like we've come from monkeys. So you should eat like monkeys. I think you should also dress up like monkeys and live on trees. But I think this is the concept, you should only have fruits and stop grains. Stop everything. That's not true. Fruits has its own great area, but you cannot only live on fruits. You also need grains. आपके stomach में भार चाहिए, नहीं तो नींद भी नहीं आएगी ठीक से. You need a bit of heaviness in the stomach as well. So grains, fruits also have their own importance. Right. There's this new concept that people used to come and scream at me about 2 years back, saying हर 2 घंटे में खाना खाओ, हर 2 घंटे में खाना खाओ. और वही आदमी आज मुझे आके बोलता है 14-16 घंटे तक भूखे रहो, 14-16 घंटे तक भूखे रहो. So my advice to you is eat जैसे आपके बाप दादा खाते थे. They were not complete idiots. They knew what they were doing. If they were, I don't know if they've made major mistakes. But in general, our culture was so well rooted in Ayurveda, is that we used to have a very nice diet. We used to have a very nice timing of eating our food. We used to have a very nice local simple food, something like khichdi. It's such a beautiful food. It has carbohydrates, it has proteins, it has a little bit of fat, it has everything. In fact, WHO has actually termed khichdi as a superfood. But we will leave all of that and we will take a keto diet for God knows what reason. We will leave moong, we will not have that. So my request to you is don't fall into these fads. Okay, don't eat every 2 hours. Don't stay hungry for 16 hours. You will see benefits for the first 3 months that you follow this, 6 months that you follow this, and then you will come back to me or any other doctor with a disease. And then you will never know why. The next myth, and I'll wrap it up. I know I don't have too much time. Exercising after food. A lot of people after having their meals, they're full and they feel because they're full, they should go out for a walk. You should never do that. After you've had a meal, walk only for 100 steps. That's basically 2 rooms. Just take 2 room ke ek chakkar maro. That's it. And then preferably if you can sit in Vajrasana and observe your digestion. For 5 minutes, if you can do that, that will help you digest food. All right. The next is this beautiful concept of desserts, which means you filled your stomach. Everything is done. And then you say, let me have the heaviest thing of my meal and order a nice pastry, which is ridiculous. How can you eat and fill your stomach and then order a chocolate fondue kind of food and then say, why do I have indigestion, doctor? I don't know. You can't be doing that. That is simply a wrong way of eating your food. If you want to eat something heavy, have it first so that you know how much else you can fill up. Right? And the last point is the last point for today. I have so much to talk to you about, but again, we have time constraints, is over exercise. Probably not applicable in this group, but I'll still tell you nevertheless. A lot of days, these people, youngsters, hit the gym so often and they over exercise and fall ill to so many diseases because they don't know when to stop. They always know when to start, and everyone is motivating. You hit the gym 3 times a week. Very good. Hit it 5 times a week. Do more. Push yourself. Push your limits. And then that pushes their bills because doctors will really charge them bombs for the problems they have. You should always know when to stop. That's very, very important. So these are a couple of myths that do come to mind. I mean, I could again talk about multiple others. And yeah, I thought probably as a lecture today, I could probably add the most value by not talking about concepts of Ayurveda, which I can easily do, or talking about how Ayurveda is good for you and do some marketing gimmick. I don't do stuff like that. I want to tell you things. If you are actually making practical mistakes in your life, you can actually correct them. And if I can change even a couple of people's lives by doing this, that I think adds most value. Can we, with the host's permission, can we open this up for a question answer session if time permits?
Doctor, acidity, please say something about acidity.
All right, okay, so that's the first question. So let me start talking about acidity a little bit. Acidity, most of the patients that come to me with a complaint of acidity do not have acidity. Okay, I'm repeating this and you all need to hear this very carefully. Most of the people that come to see me with acidity complaints, the first thing they come in the chair and they say, sir, I have acidity. And when I check their nadi, because I do nadi parikshan, I check the pulse and I find out the problems they're suffering from. So when I check the nadi, the first thing I tell them is, listen, you don't have acidity. What you have is acid reflux. What is the difference in acidity and acid reflux? Acidity refers to an increase in quantity of acid. And acid reflux means because of gas, the acid is being pushed upwards and causing burning in the chest and the throat region. So if you have acidity, if you have acid reflux and you take medicines for acidity, you will have to take that medicine for life and it will never give you permanent cure. You will find those people keeping one Rantac, one Pan D, one Pan 40, one Omaze in their pockets their whole life. It's not cancer. Why do you have to take it for life? But you will see that people will do this. The reason is that people don't understand what acidity is. Acidity is formed, I'll take 2 minutes for this topic, if you don't mind. Acidity is formed from indigestion. So when food is not properly digested, it starts fermenting into your stomach. And when it starts fermenting into the gut, that fermentation itself is acidic. Any fermentation is acidic, right? Now, your stomach is removing acid to digest regular food. रोज करता है stomach में से acid आता है तो food digest होता है. Plus the indigestion is also removing acid because it's वो सड़ रहा है. So you have good acid, and good acid is the acid that your body requires, is secreting to digest your normal day-to-day food, and bad acid that has no use but is being produced from a previous indigestion. So overall acidity because of good acid plus bad acid is high. Okay, so you feel acidic. So what do? The first thing you do is eat something मीठा. ठंडा दूध ले लिया या तो कुछ heavy खा लिया. Heavy खाओगे तो acid will be busy digesting that food and you will feel relieved. Now, the bad acid is not going to help. Only the good acid was going to help. The good acid को आप already indigestion है, उसमें आपने heavy खाया जो digestion में और difficult है, will form further indigestion, again will increase acidity and you are stuck. The second thing you do is this: you wake up in the morning and have a lot of water. You have the water, you've killed your digestive fire. You've killed your digestive fire, you eat food, it will again become indigestion and it will again cause acidity. So temporary relief, permanent damage. The third thing you do is you take things that neutralize. Eno le liya, Digene kha liya. You neutralize acid. Does the Digene know that ये bad acid को neutralize करना चाहिए, good acid को छूना नहीं है? वो तो सबको dilate आपका neutralize कर देगा. तो खाना कौन पचाएगा? Again indigestion. Again acidity. Again you have to take Digene. You'll have people keeping Digene in their pockets only. एक गोली है तो लिक्विड होगा कबाट में, सालों साल पीते ही रहते हैं. Next, you will take something that are PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, like pantoprazole, Pan D, Pan 40, omeprazole, Omaze, etc. These are the companies, right? What they do is they stop the production of good acid. तो आपकी बॉडी जो एसिड बना रही है वो एसिड का प्रोडक्शन रोक देगा, तो आपके पास सिर्फ बैड एसिड बचा, तो आपको एसिडिटी फील नहीं होगा, मगर वो बैड एसिड डाइजेस्ट करने वाला है आपका फूड. It will not be able to digest. Again you will have the problem. Again next day morning you will need Omaze. So the only way you can come out of acidity is you need to first digest the pehle ka indigestion, which will increase your acidity initially. And then once that indigestion is gone, then you will never suffer from acidity. That is if you have acidity. If you have acid reflux, which is gas, then just take a simple medicine for gas. Don't get into the acidity nonsense and you should be fine very, very soon, very, very easily. Right.
Doctor, any home remedies for acid reflux?
Home remedies, yeah, very simple. Just ensure your motions are clear and take things that are for gas. You know, you have multiple things. Maybe I can give you a couple of mixtures, but then if you have a lot of heat in the body, then you shouldn't. You should be sure that it's acid reflux and not acidity. If you are sure, then what you can do is you can take one nimbu. You can squeeze the juice, have a little bit of hing in it and a little bit of salt in it, and without adding water, just take a shot. That will remove a lot of gas. You can even apply ghee roasted with hing, you know, and you can apply it on the gut, on the stomach, and that will clean off the gas. Once the gas starts getting cleaned off, it will not push the acid upwards and it should be fine. But that will only work if your motions are completely clear.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Right. I think I have some questions in chat. I can probably just take them.
Yes, doctor. Since you've spoken a lot about water, I think there was a question in the chat that is it okay to drink a glass of warm water first thing in the morning?
So in the morning, because you've not had water for a long time, if you have one glass, that's acceptable. But apart from that, I would really recommend to not have more than half a glass at once. Okay, a lot of people also think, great, that comes to another myth, is that hot water is very healthy. Hot water increases immunity. It doesn't. Who told you this? Hot water is not great. There's no magic in hot water. You like hot water, by all means go and have it. But don't have hot water just because you shouldn't be having cold water. Just have normal room temperature मटके का पानी, no problem. गरम करके पीने से कुछ फायदा नहीं होता. You should have boiled water. But the boiled water doesn't have to be hot. अब दूध भी सुबह आता है तो उबालते हो, मगर हर एक उबला हुआ ही गरम गरम थोड़ी पीते हो. Right? By boiling water, you are actually reducing the particle size. They get absorbed in the body and they remove the sukshma mal bhi usko pura खींच के निकाल देता है. I'm using Hindi and English both because I think a couple of blank faces I'm seeing in the camera. So I'm trying to just reach out to those people. Okay.
Doctor, but another thing is also that, you know, water with warm water and honey is, I mean, you know, warm water, honey, lime, you know, all those are good for digestion as well as weight loss, etc.
Yeah, so people who use warm water with honey, whether they put lime or not, I love those patients. The simple reason is they will keep coming to me for a very long time. Honey should never be heated. I repeat, honey should never be heated. Neither should it be mixed in anything that is warm. Forget hot, even warm. For example, if I wanted to have honey with my rotis, which I really sometimes just like having, I don't know why, I'm something wrong with me, but I love having honey with rotis sometimes. So my mom makes this nice garam rotis and gives it to me. I have to wait for 20 minutes till that roti is completely thanda before I can even touch the honey to it. If you have honey with green tea, with garam pani, with nimbu, then your hair will fall like this. You will have acidity, headache, hair fall, anger, irritation, lack of sleep in quantity. You will have burning sensations in the palms, soles. You will start having red spots in the back in the shoulder region and all other pitta related diseases. You may not have all of them, but just continue and persevere. You will achieve the target if you keep doing something wrong. So you would never have this. So all of these things are heaty. They burn fat because obviously they're heaty. You're trying to burn things.
Yeah, I want to ask you.
They will burn fat, but there are better ways to do it. Please don't burn fat at the expense of your liver. Don't do that.
Now, doctor, what medicine you were saying that for acidity, you take that medicine and you will be free from acidity? What?
No. I was, there's no medicine that I've given. I'm saying that people take things like Pan-D or Pan-40 or Omaze, thinking that that's an acidity medicine, but they are never free of acidity. They keep taking it every day. I'm sure so many of you all take it. I don't even have to look aage. I'm sure you yourself know 5 people who take it. Ask your friends. You'll find out. There are people who are hooked on these things. There are also people who are hooked on Isabgol. They take it for life. 10 saal, 20 saal, 25 saal, thinking it's healthy.
Yeah. But how to avoid, doctor, how to avoid having this acidity problem? I mean,
one time sahan karna padega, digest the chronic indigestion, eat good food, Anything that is sour, spicy, fermented, avoid. Okay, things that are heaty, you need to avoid. One time you need to let the acidity increase, digest the previously undigested food, and then you will no longer have the acidity. Acidity treatment always first worsens the condition before improving it. So there are two things. You can either run towards relief or you can go towards a cure. The relief will never give you the cure. And the cure will never give you relief. The minute you understand this, and you go to a doctor, he will say, patient आया, इसको मैं आराम दूंगा, वो 5 और patient को लेके आएगा. So he will immediately prescribe relief. Very few doctors will say कि मैं तुमको परेशान करूंगा. You will feel worse after coming to me. I don't care whether you don't send more patients to me, but I will cure you.
So does that mean that curd and all are bad for health? Curd, idlis?
Nothing is good or bad for health. It depends on what condition you're suffering from and what kind of prakriti you have. Right? Curd generally as a rule in Bombay is not good because curd has a quality of abhishyandi. Abhishyandi means it blocks all the channels. For example, if anyone has loose motions, you give dahi chawal, right? So you give curd so that it blocks all the channels. Already because of humidity, our channels are so blocked in Bombay that if we start having curd, and especially at night, we are basically killing ourselves slowly and steadily. You'll start having major diseases. If I had the time and the resources, I could actually conduct a survey study of all the patients in all the hospitals in Bombay, and I could conclusively tell you that more than 60 to 70 people who are suffering from chronic diseases have a tendency of having curd daily. But curd in, I think I have a few people talking over me.
In the morning, can you have a
Can I
warm
finish
water,
my answer?
please?
1 second.
In the morning, can we have a lukewarm water before?
You can have regular water. I have no problems with lukewarm water. I'm just saying if you think it's very healthy to have hot water, it's not. That's it. If you want to have it, have it. I was just finishing my answer with curd. If you're having curd in Pune, you're having curd in Delhi, you're having curd in Rajasthan, in Punjab, by all means, it's very, very healthy. But if you're having it in a humid area, like say Chennai, Madras, Bombay, big problem. All right. So don't have too much curd. In Bombay, you're having it outside is good for you. So curd, is it good for health or bad for health? There is no universal answer. It depends on where you are, what problem you have, etc., etc.
Excuse me, doctor. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go on.
Yeah. What is an ideal thing? How much of water should we drink in a day?
So there is no real ideal. If you are of average height and average weight, and if you're a female, I think 1.5 to 2 liters in Bombay is fair enough. But it again depends on how much you sweat, how much you urinate. It's so many factors. But in an approximation, somewhere between 1.5 to 2 liters. If you're a male or if you're a female with slightly above average height and weight, then you could probably look at say 2 to 2.5 liters, but somewhere there.
Okay, but then in the morning, actually, how much should we have in the morning?
I've told you, one glass in the morning is good enough. Correct.
Okay.
And if you need water to clear motions, then take medicines to do that. Water should not be a medicine to clear motions.
No,
there are much better alternatives.
But I mean, all along we have heard so many doctors and so many videos telling us to drink 1 liter of water in the morning.
I know. In fact, I thank them every day because of them, I have so many patients today.
Acha, okay. So just 1 glass.
1 glass, yeah.
Okay, fine.
So and I love all these fads. I love all these Western doctors.
And they've
really ruined India's health, and that's why us Ayurvedic doctors have such a great time. We have no dearth of patients because they come and they start. I just saw a patient who was stuffing himself with cranberries because it has antioxidants, and then he felt so sick that I had to come and treat him. Cranberries, I can't even imagine. It's ridiculous. But I have such ridiculous people who come and teach some. I don't even know, Antiguan medicine and Cantonese nonsense and things like that. And where everywhere in the world people are loving Ayurveda, but in India we like imported stuff. So that's the beauty, I have Italian patients. I have an Australian patient who flies every 3 months from Melbourne to see me, and in the evening flies back. But the person living above me will not come to me. He would go to a allopathic doctor who's done his MD in Australia. That's the beauty of it. Only if you have the karma to come, can you come? Otherwise, you are living next to me, you can't come.
Hello, doctor. I would like to know, lukewarm water can be drunk in the early morning?
I've already answered your question. If you want to take it, you can take it.
If it is necessary, Otherwise, avoid it, no?
Water is necessary now, whether you want to take it lukewarm or regular, is up to you.
Okay. Before tea?
Before tea, after tea, whenever you're thirsty.
Lukewarm.
Yeah, just listen to your body. The best doctor is not someone who has a degree. The best doctor is your body. Just listen to it. We are only parrots. We only look at your nadi and we tell you what your body is telling you.
Yeah.
Does this 2 liter include tea, coffee, milk, etc.? Liquids? Basically?
Not really. No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
One
Otherwise, it will be too less. I mean, if you have like 8-9 liters of tea, then it should include. Then you are going overboard. But if you have a reasonable amount, it's fine.
Doctor, one question is there. Some are saying drink the water in the copper vessel. You can keep the water and drink. That's good for health.
I think that's pretty great for health. You should do it. No, nothing wrong with it. Matke ka pani, copper vessel, these are always good things to keep water in.
Thank you, doctor.
So supposing,
but it doesn't have too much of an impact, by the way. It has a very minor impact, but if you do it over the years, then it adds up. Nothing else.
Doctor, I'm
getting 3 questions. I can't understand. Can one of y'all?
I just wanted to ask a question. Supposing I get a strong attack of reflux, then should I not take Pan-D, etc. at all, or should I take it initially?
You should not take it at all. Okay. Because if you take it, you're actually stopping. It's a proton pump inhibitor. You can read about it. What a pantoprazole would do is it will stop the good acid that's being produced by the body from coming into the gut. So then what will happen is that I know you will get temporary relief and you will feel all good. But if you are getting an acid reflux problem, you need to clear your motions completely. Flush the toxins out. Flush everything out. That's the best way that you can do it. It doesn't happen in one sitting, doesn't matter. In fact, I have a YouTube channel which I've given home remedies. A lot of these questions today are on home remedies and I can understand. You all are suffering. But I have home remedies on my YouTube channel, which is just free for everyone. Just have a look. If you have acidity, just search my name, Dr. Manan Gandhi. I have an extra A in my name. So you could probably just make a note of that. Manan Gandhi, and on YouTube, just search my name. You'll find my channel. I have home remedies for about 40 problems. You can use those home remedies, find solutions to problems you are suffering from.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Doctor, thank you.
Should we avoid salads completely?
I'm sorry, what
Should
completely?
we avoid salads completely?
So if you can digest everything raw, then you can have it, but you're not going to get any great nutrition out of it, because 2019, there was an experiment done and it was conclusively scientifically proved, which is the words that people love, scientifically proved that by boiling vegetables, you do not lose nutrition. तो वेजिटेबल्स को उबालने से उसके न्यूट्रिशन जाता नहीं है, जो बहुत लोग को लगता था कि चला जाता है, इसीलिए वो कच्चा खाते थे. अगर न्यूट्रिशन नहीं जा रहा है तो माइट इज वेल मेक इट इजी फॉर द स्टमक. व्हाई स्टमक को क्यों आप त्रास देते हो, तकलीफ देते हो कच्चा खा के? वो स्टमक को, उसको कच्चा खाना इजी थोड़ी है डाइजेशन के लिए. सॉफ्ट करके उसको बॉईल करके अगर आप खाते हो सब्जी बनाकर, इट्स सो इजी फॉर योर बॉडी टू असिमिलेट इट. आप अगर कच्चा खाओगे तो असिमिलेट करना कितना मुश्किल है. और अगर आपको कोई बेनिफिट नहीं है कच्चा खाने से, हाँ गैस का 2 रुपया बच जाएगा, पर और कोई बेनिफिट नहीं है.
You should always have vegetable लेना चाहिए.
Boiled or cooked, you can make a sabzi out of it. You don't, doesn't have to be boiled. थोड़ा सॉफ्ट कर दो उसको ना, make it easy for your body.
Semi boiled.
हाँ, कभी भी बॉडी को तकलीफ नहीं देना चाहिए. You should always be with your body.
With your body. That's right.
Doctor, what about turmeric and jeera? Is that good?
Everything is good or bad depending on so turmeric has its own qualities. Turmeric is good for helping the blood getting a little bit purified. Turmeric is good for multiple things. Wound healing.
But then can you have it in the morning? Early in the morning.
You can have it at any time. But why do you have it?
Water?
See, you can have a lot of things in the morning.
But then
why are you having it? That's the question.
No. But has that to be hot?
Obviously, haldi is always hot. Haldi is always hot. That's why it's always normally given with milk, because milk is cooling. It reduces the heatiness of haldi while giving you the other benefits of haldi. Haldi is always hot.
Okay, so you can have it on. Achha.
If you have a heat problem, don't have haldi. Yeah.
You know, some are saying that milk is not good to drink in the night. It gives flame on the chest.
Yeah, so night time is where kapha increases. Kapha is a dosh. It is not COUGH cough. It is Vata Pitta Kapha, which is a Sanskrit word way before English was invented. Okay, so Kapha dosh increases when you at night, and if you have things that increase cough, which like milk, they will basically increase cough in a very quick manner. Now, in certain times, you want your cough to increase. For example, if people have insomnia, they have too much vata, they can't sleep. For them, I tell them to have milk with a little bit of ghee, because that will increase their kapha to the level that they can now sleep peacefully. But if you already have a kapha problem and you're suffering from sinusitis, asthma, rhinitis kind of a problem, and then if you increase your kapha, then you're falling ill. So whatever you need, you take. If you already have excess of it, then don't take.
Daytime में पी सकते हैं?
कफ तो बढ़ाएगा ही, डे टाइम में बढ़ाएगा, नाइट टाइम में ज्यादा बढ़ाएगा. अगर कफ का तकलीफ है तो दूध मत लो.
दूध नहीं पीने का. Add not adding water or anything in the milk.
You add water, basically you've taken less milk, but milk तो लिया ही है ना.
But that is the same thing.
No, the quantity of milk goes lesser. आप पानी डाल 50% दूध लोगे तो 50% ही दूध पेट में जाएगा. 100% दूध लोगे तो 100% दूध जाएगा.
So better not to have it only.
Up to you. I am not saying yes or no. If you need cough to increase, then have milk. It's good for you. If you don't want more cough in the body, then don't have it. It's bad for you. So milk in itself is not healthy or unhealthy. Depending on your perspective. For example, if I say कि एक सिंपल एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि वाटरमेलन ठंडक करता है और चंदन भी ठंडक करता है, बराबर है? तो वाटरमेलन और चंदन दोनों ठंडे हैं कंपेयर टू माय बॉडी. मगर अगर मैं वाटरमेलन को चंदन से कंपेयर करूं तो वाटरमेलन तो गर्म है ना चंदन के सामने. कोई भी गुण होता है वो कंपैरिजन में होता है. If I say I am strong, which means I am stronger than whom? If I say I am hot, I am hotter than whom? कोई भी गुण कंप्लीट थोड़ी हो सकता है without comparison. If I say that I am intelligent compared to someone else. Am I intelligent compared to God? If I compare to God, I am dumb. So any good, garam padega, thanda padega, is always in comparison to your body. If your body needs cough, then you take cough. If your body doesn't need cough, then don't take cough.
Sorry, citric fruit is also according to the body language, is it? Lemon, orange or something like that.
Is orange a citric fruit? Yes.
Yeah. So you can have it, no? If you don't have any problem.
Yeah, I mean, everything you can have if you don't have any problem. Yeah. All fruits.
Yes. All fruits are good.
No, all fruits are not good. It depends on if you have a problem with it or not.
Nah, you know, breakfast time we take plantain with breakfast.
No, see, understand. If you have a pitta problem, you have a lot of heat in the body, then don't take things that are sour. Don't take oranges. If you don't have a pitta problem, then you can take oranges. If you have a cough problem, then don't take milk. If you don't have a cough problem, then take milk.
That is good. That your explanation is too good. But in the morning, banana, you can have it breakfast.
Banana increases cough. So if you have cough, don't take it. You don't have cough, take it.
Okay.
How important is fruit in the Ayurvedic diet?
Yeah.
Fruit is important in almost every diet. Fruit is great.
So supposing we are not able to digest, should we then force ourselves to have the fruit? What should we do?
Not really. There are so many options in fruits. If you can't digest a certain variety of fruit, then go for another variety.
I can't have any
variety.
Which you can't have any fruits, then there's something really wrong with you. It's not possible. You need to check that. It's impossible that you can't have any fruits. Most fruits increase cough. So people who generally complain, I can't have any fruits, have a cough problem. They can have jamun, they can have jackfruit without a problem.
Jamun.
You can try it. You will not have any problem with jamun. It reduces cough, it reduces diabetes, reduces weight, reduces obesity.
Jamun, yes. We try to eat that. Yeah.
So right. So I think it was till 6, so we've already about 10-15 minutes over.
Yes.
I hope I've tried to answer as many as I could and keep my talk as brief as I could. You guys have been a great audience.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
It was very, very interesting.
Thank you. Very good session.
Thank you so much, doctor.
Please
solve our problem.
Please come again. You solve some problems of ours.
Some problem next time.
Thank you. That's so kind of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manan. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for having me.
We have a lot of things to ask you and a lot of doubts and all. We wish you come very often, you know.
Yeah, come again.
I'll probably try to. To be honest, I've actually not taken appointments for this hour just so that I could come and see all of you all. All of these happy faces. But it's a little bit difficult for me to constantly keep not taking appointments and see all of you all.
Yes.
No, we appreciate that, doctor.
I'll definitely try to.
You get the blessings which are not available in the market, sir.
I'm so sorry, what?
You get all the senior citizens' blessings which are not available freely in the market.
Yeah. But I think doctors are also very less Ayurvedic available in the market. And I can't turn back a patient. You know, I'm not doing it for financial purposes. But my profession is seva. If I turn away 5 patients so that I can talk to 20 of you, then I can't keep doing it.
No, we understand that, doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We'll wait for you to come again.
Sure.
Thank you, doctor.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
I used to have hot water, doctor, nearly the whole day. But now I'm going to stop.
I mean, if you like it, you can take it. Otherwise,
don't like it, it's okay. But then
there's no health benefit specifically.
Hot water is the best, so I used to take.
Yeah, so these are the myths. Okay.
I have to watch a YouTube channel.
Anyway.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
See you again. Huh? Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. God bless. God bless.
Nice talk with doctor.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Hello, Jane.
Bye.
Bye, Jane. I want to talk to you.
But not now. Now I'm running to church. Today the Ash Wednesday.
Not now.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you on the phone. Okay?
Okay, fine. Yeah.
I want you to pray for me. Ash Wednesday. Pray for me.
Okay. Later on. I'll talk to you later on. Okay? See, at about 8:30.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Pray for me. Pray for me.
Sure.
For good health.
Yes. Okay. I'll talk to you.
Yes, sure. Pray. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.